legal things in a state. It's necessary that one who really and truly fights for the right, if he's to survive even for a short term, must act as a private man. Does he believe in new spiritual things instead, from that quote? Now, let's see whether we can get him even more involved. All right? He believes in new spiritual things instead. To what degree is his vocation as a philosopher seen by Socrates to be a consequence of some spiritual influence? If we can nail that down too, we'll be able to have a better case to convict him. So let me submit this one. Well, why do some people enjoy spending a great deal of time with me? You've heard why, gentlemen. I've told you the whole truth. They enjoy hearing men cross-examined who think they're wise and are not. Indeed, that is not unpleasant. See, this is his goal. He goes around doing this, both for himself and for others. This is his game. This is philosophy. Does it to himself and to others. So watch what he concludes now. And I maintain that I have been commanded by the God to do this, through oracles and dreams, and in every way in which some divine influence of other has ever commanded a man to do anything. Now, is that a rather bold statement? Let me do it again. And I maintain that I have been commanded by the God to do this, through oracles and dreams, and in every way in which some divine influence or other has ever commanded a man to do anything. Does he think he has a job from the God? Very clearly. And if you're in the audience, wouldn't you want at that time to know whether he's talking about Apollo or Athena?
Just what I was going to ask you.
Nope, never. Through this whole work, he'll never put a name on the God that he's talking about. And if you're in the jury box, you're just waiting for that name to drop, aren't you? Because then he's guilty or innocent.
Right.
So look here. New? Clearly. Spiritual influence? Clearly. Wait a minute. Does he willing to say that he believes in a God in a way in which none of his accusers do, just before they go into the jury box and vote? Oh yes, we have a great quote here. Now I'm going to read you the last two sentences before the vote. Actually, I'll sneak in a third, because he uses the word Zeus as someone might when they stub their toe and say, God darn it, or something like that. Watch. Then do not demand, gentlemen, that I should do before you such things as I hold neither honorable nor permissible, most especially by Zeus for one who is persecuted for impiety. That's not declaring a belief in Zeus, is it? Last two sentences. For clearly, if I should persuade you and compel you by entreaties when you are on oath, I should be teaching you not to believe in gods. And in my own defense, I should actually accuse myself of not believing in gods. But I am far from that, gentlemen. I do believe, in a sense in which none of my accusers does. And that's the very charge, isn't it? That he believes in a God in a way in which none of his accusers do, because the accusers are representing the values of the state. That's what they hear as they go to vote. He's got one last phrase, and I'll read that. I do believe in a sense in which none of my accusers does, and I trust you and God himself to decide about me in the way that shall be best both for me and for you. They go in and they vote. There are 501 in the jury box because they believe 12 men could easily be manipulated. But the higher the number, they were three counts, you see, in a jury. You could have 201 if it's a minor offense, 501, and 1,201 if it was a crime against the state. So he got the 501, and so they voted. And the count was 281 against 220. Oh yeah, 30 votes. Close. Now look here, what can we do?
Laying it out this way, how come there were so many who apparently thought that he's not guilty?
I think they were listening. And they decided, you see, you can look at this and think that he's not guilty. Some people make the distinction between guilt and innocence. He may be innocent of the charge. He may be innocent, but guilty of the charges. We may think he is just, but guilty of the charges, especially if the charges are unjust. So it caught people in a bind.
Yeah.
Now, what did he do then? All right? They now vote, bingo, guilty. What does he do? He now must offer the second, right? He must offer an alternative. Now, this man is incredible. He goes through several pages and he does a couple of things. We're now here. I want to deal with the spiritual dimension in a few minutes, but I just want to go formally through these charges and the consequence of the trial. And he now considers the fact that he was just declared guilty. And he thinks about it. He says, well, gentlemen, I'll tell you what. I must decide what it is I deserve. Well, he says, I'll tell you what I deserve. That's a great quote. Then what do I deserve? Since I am such as that, something good, gentlemen, if I'm to make the estimate, what it ought to be in truth. And further, something good which would be suitable for me. Well then, what is suitable for a poor benefactor who craves to have leisure for your encouragement? Nothing, gentlemen, is so suitable as that such a man should be boarded free in the town hall, which he deserves, more than any one of you who has gained the prize at Olympia with a pair of horses or four in hand. Then if I must estimate the just penalty according to my deserts, this is my estimate. Free board in the town hall. There was no town hall. They called it the Prytaneum in those days. The Prytaneum was a sacred building, and it was only used for two occasions. Visiting royalty were housed there for 24 hours, then the place had to be purified. Or, if you won the Olympics with four in hand, four horses, with a chariot, you were given maintenance there for 12 hours, sunrise to sunset. What did he want? Free room and board for the rest of his life at the Prytaneum, which would be... That's what he says he deserves. And he says, by the way, if you're going to fine me for court expenses, things like that, he says, I'll tell you what I'll pay. He says, I'll pay about $35. That's what would be the equivalent today. £12.